Welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be an in-depth, step-by-step breakdown on my entire painting process from start to finish on this fully 3D printed Boba Fett cosplay. I'm going to give you all my paint color choices and show you how I textured all of my armor. Stick around, I really hope you enjoy it. I'm using rattle cans for all of these paint colors, and links to everything is going to be in the description. After getting everything nice and smooth, I start on all these armor pieces with the Rustoleum 2X Metallic. Now I'm not using their metallic finish even though it's shinier, because it's a much more fragile paint, and it can't really take any liquid latex or masking, and that's going to be important for what we're going to do here. I also want to mention that on this particular armor there's not very much metallic there, so I sprayed this over the primer, but for a shinier metallic look, you really want to have a nice black glossy base layer before painting any metallics. I'm simply going to hit all the pieces with 2 or 3 light coats till I have good coverage. I do want to mention that this video you're watching here covers about 6 months of my life working on this armor. Some pieces were completely done being painted when others hadn't even been printed yet. So I've done the best I can to sift through hundreds and hundreds of clips and lay them out here for you in a way that actually makes sense. After my pieces are coated in metallic, I go through and begin using masking tape and liquid latex in a small fine tip applicator bottle to make sure I'm covering all the areas of metallic that I want to remain metallic even after the final paint job. Of course, dozens of these clips have been omitted because if I included every single thing, this video would be incredibly long. I will leave plenty of these clips in here though so that you can see what I'm doing and get an idea of my process. If you're trying to make it as accurate as possible to the show, it's important to look at reference of the screen used props while you're applying your liquid mask. This way you know exactly where that metallic needs to stay. After all that liquid latex is dried, my next step is to use truck bed liner to get our Boba Fett texture. Now for almost all of this armor I used Rustoleum's truck bed liner, but as I discovered when I was making the helmet video, I actually like the Duplicolor truck bed liner's texture a lot more. Here you can see a comparison of the Rustoleum truck bed liner on that thruster and the Duplicolor truck bed liner on the jetpack. Then to break up some of the consistency in that truck bed liner texture, I decided to use some Loctite spray adhesive. I'm spraying this from a distance and just letting it fall onto the piece. I used the back plate of the armor as my initial test. I ended up liking it, but I do think it's important as you're spraying it to use something like a glove on your hand to pop some of the bubbles that like to get made. I want to mention here as well that when I originally started printing this armor, the Book of Boba Fett files weren't out yet. So I was using Mando Season 2 files and was planning on doing a Book of Boba Fett cosplay. Eventually though, I decided to just switch fully to the Mando Season 2. So the chest, shoulders, and knees I ended up painting twice. I then applied that texture to all those pieces that I had already painted and was working on the repaint for. So now that I have my texture applied and all of my metallic areas are still masked, I begin the painting process. I don't have too many specific tips on this stage, but of course make sure that you're properly masking the areas that you need to so you're painting the right color on the right spot according to the reference photos. I'm spraying this entire armor with just rattle cans. It's important to do that in 2 or 3 lighter coats. There were a couple areas, especially like on the yellow pieces, that I painted a little bit too thick, because it was harder for that yellow to get good coverage. And cover up those darker areas underneath. Now, as I let you watch these clips of me painting all this armor, I'll mention that I used mostly Montana brand paints for pretty much everything. The Montana brand is really nice and sprays super fine, but I did have some times where it would dust up on me and clump up, and it didn't come out quite the way that I wanted it to. After painting the armor and doing some research online, I found that they sell aftermarket tips. They're essentially better nozzles that spray the paint better out of the can. I'm going to go through and talk about all my color choices for each piece. For the main green, I was using Montana Black Storm, but you could also use Krylon Spanish Moss Green if you're also using rattle cans. The main red that I painted on everything is Montana Black Cardinal. But you could also use Rustoleum Claret Wine, or even Rustoleum Redwood. For the main yellow, I'm using the Montana Black Melon Yellow, although I will say that probably in the future, I'm going to shift to Montana Topaz instead of Melon Yellow. I think the Topaz is a little bit more orange in it, and it'll give a more accurate look pre-weathering to the original armor used in the show. On the rocket, I used the Rustoleum Metallic, and I also used a Rustoleum Metallic Rust Stopper that has a nice bronze look to it. At this point, I will let you enjoy me painting a bunch of these armor pieces. Now here is a little bit of a look at what all these pieces looked like once they had all their base layers done. After all the paint was done drying, I removed all my masking tape and liquid latex to reveal that metallic underneath. Obviously, you want to be careful not to ruin any of the paint job at all. After all that was done, I went back through and did a little bit of finishing touches on some of the other pieces. The van braces required some other metallic and black. And then I had reprinted the wrist rocket and a couple of other pieces in resin after I bought a resin printer partway through this project. In this video, really quickly here, I'm going to also cover how I did the stencils for Boba's chest signet and his left shoulder signet. Essentially, I took these designs and got them all separated into different layers so that I could cut them out on my Cricut cutter. is maybe some nice multi-layer stencils for each color that I was able to just simply place on the armor and paint. I do want to also mention that I have since completely redesigned these stencils fully. And I do plan on selling them on my website at galaxybuild.com. If you're interested in cosplay items or other things like that, please visit galaxybuild.com. I simply worked from the larger layer upwards, placing these stencils down, painting it the color that I needed, letting it dry, then painting the next layer. On some of these areas I had to go in with a brush as well and just touch everything up and make sure it was looking good. After that, I'm just simply able to peel back those stencils and you can see how nice these symbols look. Much better than decals. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching this video all the way up to this point. Consider subscribing if you want to. I do plan on uploading more content here soon. Thanks for watching that entire video, and I will see you in the next one.